What's good? So in today's YouTube video, we're going to be talking about consistency in starting, and really the main focal point, all you really want to really focus on is really just starting, because once you start, then you're going to be able to have momentum and establish that momentum and turn it into consistency. As we all need to know, consistency creates change. And if anything needs to see any kind of major results in life, the best thing you want to really do is focus on creating change, because without creating change, there's only going to be complacency. And when you have complacency, that's when you get no results. So it's all about getting into the habit of just starting. And I'm looking into more about the habits of getting into doing something, focusing more on the habits, focusing more on taking action rather than focusing on the result, because the result's going to come eventually, only if you actually put work in and get results, right? So for me, it's been spending hours in the gym, clocking in, clocking out, working on building a physique. And it took me years, long before I saw change. So once I was actually consistent to the game, but over years, I was able to see significant results. And with these results, I was able to actually build a chest. I was able to grow my arms, not as much as I'd like to, because I focus most of the time working chest, working triceps. So those are two of the areas that actually grew, as well as my back. But when it comes to actually creating change, you want to really focus more on the game, focus more on the habits, focus more on the actions that's actually going to bring you towards the result. If you don't focus on taking the habits, but you focus more on the actual result, then chances are you may or may not be seeing the result that you actually want to see for yourself. So when it comes to consistency, all it is just starting. There never is a perfect time, there never is the perfect day, there never is the perfect weather to go in and start to do something. And more than anything over these years, it's what I've learned, that there is no perfect time for anything in this life. And if you don't take action today, it's a day you can't get back. It's a day of waste. It's a day of lack of productivity. And when it comes to lack of productivity, well, let's just say it means you couldn't get as much done as you would have liked to if you actually did the work and focused more on the self habits that actually got you towards that goal. So when it comes to actually just starting something, you can be starting a project, you can be starting a business, you can be starting something, and all it is just starting, because once you start, now you have the momentum to actually continue that project, continue that motive, that business, and be consistent, which can be messaging several people a day about what it is that you do, or creating flyers, creating some sort of free value to get to somebody who I actually needed, to actually help them, get them on the right path to where they want to be. All it is just starting today and worrying about things later. And by starting today, I position myself towards taking the necessary action, right? Taking the right action, doing what's necessary to actually see a result, see a point in change in life. The only way to create change is to actually change your current circumstances and align these circumstances into the right areas and paths of life where you want to actually be, whether it's creating a physique, whether it's becoming CEO of a business, whether it's having the entrepreneurial spirit to actually go out there and make some sort of major significant impact in the world. But all of that starts once you have the right habits that are needed towards getting you to be that individual. Yeah, the result's going to be cool, but I've noticed that once we tend to focus more on a result rather than what we can control today, that's going to put us in that position towards getting to that individual that we see ourselves. Once you focus more on the habits, it becomes more of just taking the action and doing that consistently over an extended period of time. So we'll then begin to create change. And like I said before, consistency creates change. And once we know that, then the game begins to become only slightly more easier. And it becomes more of a challenge to actually take the actions that we need to be taking daily, every single day. Depending upon how we feel, which is irrelevant, we need to still take action regardless of how we feel, how things are going in the morning, how our day is moving. Action, immediate action is always thing that actually creates change in this life. So if you want to create change, immediate action is going to be required of the utmost. just starting and worrying about things later. And I want to take into like a self-limiting belief into how we really think about starting new ventures that you may feel, for lack of a better term, not confident in, or you may feel fearful of based upon what could be, rather than just taking the action. When we're focusing on these new ventures and we're focusing on these limiting beliefs about how things could go, we then have the idea to not take the action, to not take any sort of motive towards achieving a result. Starting that new venture could be risky, it could be dangerous, but what could be far more dangerous is not actually taking the action or starting today, creating habits today that's going to put you into a position where you could potentially get to that goal. That's where the real risk comes in play. It's not what could be, or it's not starting, it's what could have been if you didn't take action towards getting to that immediate goal. And the best thing about taking risks, as I've done so myself in the last year, was what could have been. And more than anything, I would do it 10 times over, because knowing what could have been, regret is the biggest thing in life. And thinking about what could have been, thinking about how regretful one could be based upon they didn't take the action they could have taken towards achieving a certain outcome, is forever going to haunt them for the rest of their lives, because they know that if they would have taken the action, it could have been a different circumstance or scenario. There could have been a different result. And results only come into play once the right habits are in place towards getting you in the position towards achieving that goal. And when it comes to really a foundation of creating habits, it's really just thinking and knowing to yourself, because we all need to know what we have to be doing every single day, the right habits, the right actions. I wouldn't even want to say it's thinking about it, it's rather than just doing it and getting it done, getting it out the way and moving on and doing it every single day over and over again. And I see risks as a turning point for growth. I see risks as a short, intermediate obstacle that one is needed to really put themselves into in order to actually see a certain level of growth. And when it comes to actually achieving a higher level physique or above average physique, putting myself in risk every single day into the gym, clocking in and clocking out, putting myself in the small habits, right? For me, going to the gym, it was training my mind, training my body to be on point every single day. And it led me to the point where I am today, and it paid off dividends, right? It paid off crazy results, And the people around you will notice too when you see you or create change for yourself, whether it's physically, financially, even spiritually. People will notice, people will come over and congratulate you, Although that's the least part of it, really. But it's more so focusing on the small, consistent habits for me. Aside from going into the gym every single day, it was making sure my diet was on point. It was making sure my mind was on point. Going into the gym every single day with the right mentality to go in there and crush it every single day. To be doing just that's what led me to where I am today. I mean, for many people, it's not easy to at least work out for maybe 30 minutes to an hour per day due to a productive lifestyle, busy occupations, kids per se. There are many reasons for why getting a 30-minute workout isn't done. I don't want to say any reason out there is really valid, because to create 30 minutes out of your day to work out shouldn't be too difficult to do, but it's a lack of productivity, I want to say. But really, when it comes to actually having habits that lead towards growth, that leads towards change, is really all about making sure you're in the right position to really achieve and expect that growth for it to happen. For growth to happen, pain, discomfort is necessary, is optimal to achieve unexpected, unimaginable results. Knowing just that is how consistency creates change.